Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 222 of Empty Betters. I am your host, Harrison Scholes, and I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
Not too much, buddy. It's weird to have these 2 days off in the cup final. I'm like kind of like looking around, like, what am I supposed to be doing with myself tonight? Like, I'm just in that cadence where it's like every other day there should be a hockey game on. So this second day off is really throwing me here.
Yeah, I think we have one more like normal cadence, game three to game four, and then after that it's all travel. It's travel in between games. So gonna keep this little 2 day off thing. I agree. It throws me off a little bit. I'm kind of bummed. Can't watch game three live unless somehow the airplane Wi-Fi is working for me all right. But yeah, we've got two games of the Stanley Cup final already complete. There is no Mac on this segment of the recording. Hang with me. I'll explain in a second. So over the weekend, we recorded live together in Ocean City. Thank you, Nick, once again for hosting. Our game one recaps. We did it immediately after game one on the casting couches, we'll call it. Uh, and then that's going to be the first part of the episode. And then game two, me and Nick are going to recap just us two. Mac is on the road for work and a little busy at the moment. I'm on the road too. Somehow the hotel Wi-Fi is working for me here. So
I don't
I know.
understand why the three of us are the literally the most busy we could possibly be during the Stanley Cup final. It's so frustrating.
It's a little fucked up if you ask me. People gotta know
Right.
what's going on. But yeah, so that's kind of the game plan for this episode, and then we'll do some game three predictions at the end. Not gonna waste too much time here. So before we get to the game one recap from over the weekend in Ocean City live, I know Nick has a word from our sponsor, DraftKings.
I have many words from DraftKings. So here we go. Buckle up. We're going to do this again. Guys, we're this close to crowning a Stanley Cup champion. And with the action heating up on the ice, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. If you're new to DraftKings, go ahead and listen up because new customers can get a no sweat bet up to 1,500 bucks. Just deposit at least $5 and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get a no sweat bet up to 1,500 bucks if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, one no sweat bet per new customer, issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/ice for eligibility. Wagering and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved. I think I kind of like crushed that.
I was waiting for you because I didn't know if you guys segue immediately, but yeah, you murdered that. Oh my God.
I think I just like blacked out for 30 seconds. I honestly don't know what happened, but
How,
my like 11th grade English teacher would be very proud. So,
how many AP courses were you in?
oh,
Holy.
I took one and it was a complete joke. It was like human geography.
I love it. Well, we are going to toss it off to our past tense selves from, I think, Saturday night. God bless you all. Right now.
And a very interesting evening of game one hockey. We'll dive into the nitty gritty of all the game details a little bit later. But yeah, Nick, we are here at your Family's Beach House.
That is
Thanks for
correct.
having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Somehow they still let me come here and use it, so that's a huge
I
win.
love how when you said that, Harry, it was kind of like we're here at your beach house or something.
Yeah.
Like what
Thing,
what
I
the
mean,
fuck is this
Yeah,
place?
we've only been here for what, like 48 hours, so it's good that we know where we are. That's a massive win. I'll say
Somewhat.
that for the boys.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal to hang out with you guys, get a little live recording in before we head out tomorrow. So,
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
can't
what
wait to-
time is checkout?
I don't know. Who cares?
Nick, for the listeners, let's get a shrimp boat recap.
Oh.
Inform the listeners of what it is, where it
Oh my
is, what you
God.
get, all the good stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point. So for those of you that don't know, yeah, we're here in Ocean City, Maryland this weekend. It is in full swing Maryland beach scene this weekend. I think this is like, post Memorial Day. This is like the first weekend where you get like senior week starts, which, you have hit or miss feelings about. The boardwalk starts up with its crazy antics, and every person with gray hair is like going to murder someone to get crabs this weekend. So we made sure that we beat the senior citizen dinner time of 4:30, and we went at 5:30 once they had all cleared out. Got an amazing selection of crabs, shrimp, fried seafood, hush puppies,
Popsicle in a cup.
popsicle in a cup,
Crab
frozen
dip.
dreamsicle, concrete, adult
Ah.
liquor milk. Like, I mean, it was such
Stony.
yeah, Stony was fantastic. She was our server. She was
Yep.
awesome. But just the fact that Shrimp Boat, shout out Shrimp Boat, as soon as you sit
Shout out
down,
Shrimp
the
Boat,
first thing to
sponsor us.
hit your table is just free shrimp.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
With the heads on.
With the heads on.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
The eyeballs staring right back at you and everything. Just how I like it.
And then Mac likes to suck on their heads.
Well, while we're on that topic, Harry actually picked one up and started sucking on the head before he even took off the show. I think
Correct.
kind of
And
misinterpreted.
the wrong side
Yeah.
of the head.
I-
too.
Right.
Yeah.
I just
Just started sucking on.
I just started sucking on the head immediately.
It's like what you want to
Yeah.
do is you want to remove the head from the shrimp and then suck the juice out of the inside of the head, similar to like what you would do on a crawfish. And it's just basically where all the seasoning pools.
Hmm.
You ever had crawfish?
Yeah.
Like down in NOLA or like what? That's like a New Orleans thing, right?
Yeah, I got them like Uber Eats to my house all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
he was just
never
telling
had
us that.
crawfish.
Yeah. No, like we literally talked about this like not 24 hours
And
ago.
was he
right?
here yet?
I think so, right?
I don't remember.
I wasn't here
That's
yet.
probably par for the
Yeah.
weekend though. So
Anyways, yeah. Fuck off. Game one. Let's chat, fellas. Bit of a, I wouldn't say blowout. I mean, you see the scoreboard, 3-0 Panthers, right? But kind of a weird game. Oilers mostly dominated the first two periods. They were all over the Cats. Bobrovsky played out of his mind. We'll talk about that more in a second.
Yeah.
And then that third period, it's like a chokehold that the Panthers just put down on the Oilers. So
that's a great way to put it. It's just so suffocating. I know we had used that adjective about the Carolina Hurricanes at some point, but I think the Panthers just take it to a completely different level. Like you said, the Oilers started hot. They came out and they had the first like 3 or 4 grade A chances, but I mean, they got bobbed.
they got Bob.
They got bobbed.
3 breakaways in the first period. Bob stood on his head. Mac, I know that you have a lot to say about Sergei Bobrovsky and the highlight that we're watching real time on ESPN, which was hilarious in the first period.
That was hilarious. I mean, I did kind of just go into this game feeling like he was going to have a monster game. I remember seeing that stat a couple weeks ago, or yeah, like a week ago now, that said I think it was 2 goals or less allowed in, was it 11 of the last 12 or something like that?
Yep.
Coming into tonight. And so that was kind of in the back of my head when I pulled trigger on him to let in less than 2.5. Should have just bet him to get a damn shutout. But yeah, what a game. I mean, he had a lot of good saves, even though he wasn't tested all that much. I feel like almost every one of his like big saves was highlight reel stuff. Just, and then the one you were just talking about, he cartwheels across. I don't even think he saved it, but he was dialed in all night.
Yeah, I think 32 save shutout, if I'm not mistaken. The game just ended, so I don't have the stat in front of me, but a hell of a performance by him. This is one of those instances where I want to hear what you guys think, where the team who wins pretty much gets outplayed majority of the game. If you believe in the deserve to win meters, you're gonna have a field day with that. So leading into game 2, like this is where people overthink it. I'm one of those people where it's like Florida played really bad, so now I think they're going to dismantle Well, I shouldn't say they played really bad. They got outplayed. Now they're going to dismantle Edmonton in game 2, and Edmonton's not going to stand a chance. I don't know if that's true. I want to know what you guys think.
I kind of like that mentality. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where like the Panthers, besides Bob, the team came out frankly kind of flat,
Yeah.
didn't have their best game, and manages to steal one. And then, like you're saying, you go into the next game with that, like, wow, we really got kind of lucky there. Bob really stole us one. Now we owe it to him to actually play well tonight. And
Right.
that's kind of what I would see as well. Nick, what do you think?
I'm sort of, I would say, leaning a little bit towards giving the Panthers a little bit more credit tonight. I think,
Okay.
while I totally agree that this was not their best game, they did not come out firing right off the hop. We all saw the Oilers have like the first 4 or 5 like grade A scoring chances. But I think, you just had that feeling like once Bob made those first 5 saves, it wasn't a question of if, it was just when the Panthers were going to break through.
Yep.
So I think, credit to them a little bit just to stick to their game and just do what they've been doing all year, which is like just grind their opponent into the ground.
Yep.
And I mean, the 2 goals that they had to go up 2-0 before they got the empty netter were just perfect plays. Barkov with the perfect pass to Verhaeghe, and then Bennett with the insane pass to Erod.
Yeah. And that second goal, like Mac, I think you were saying it when we were watching it live. Bennett gets the puck, he dumps
Yeah.
it deep himself, goes in, stick lifts. I think it was Nurse or Cece. I can't remember. Shocker if it's one of those two, right? And then it makes a nice dish off to Erod, and it's like he did the whole play himself. And that's the kind of play that like a playoff player like Sam Bennett makes for a playoff team like the Florida Panthers. It's just the pinnacle of like why they're so good, why they're here again for 2 years in a row.
It was a great
Yeah.
play. I will say too, like if you're the Oilers, this is kind of worst case scenario for you about how game 1 could have gone.
I
Probably.
agree.
Like I'd almost rather you didn't play that well and you scored like a goal at some point somehow and lost like 4-1 than you played really well and you got shut out and now you don't even have like a goal to show for yourself. I don't know. I worry about what that does to an already nervous, I'd imagine, locker room.
Yeah.
You come away with absolutely nothing and just feeling there's nothing more. I mean, we all played hockey. There's nothing more frustrating than playing a good game and the goalie at the other end of the ice is just on some shit that night and you're just like there's nothing we can do.
It's
to
just
fucking
his
put the
day,
puck in
not
the net.
yours. It's just
Yeah.
like one of those things, and anyone who's been in this business or sports just knows how that happens.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating than just a hot goalie that you're just like
Exactly.
there's nothing we can do.
Going back to the other end of the net, how would you guys say Skinner fared in this game? Do you necessarily fault him for either of those 2 goals, or do you think he basically did his job and was let down by the
Well,
game?
I was getting ahead of myself before. That's what I meant when I said he wasn't tested. I was thinking of Skinner, how he made a couple of good saves, but wasn't really tested. And also, I still think that first goal I'm not like thrilled with. It was a good play overall, but I don't know. Bob makes that save
Yes,
and
100%.
did a couple times tonight.
I feel like the saves that Skinner made, like with like 18 minutes on in the third, were the most impressive of the game. Definitely kept them in it throughout the third. I don't think that game goes into the final minute or 2 minutes 2-0 if he's not in the net.
No, yeah, I agree.
The first one, I don't blame him, but like Max said, Bob makes that save.
Yep.
And then the second one, yeah, you can't really blame him. That's a great pass, great play, great shot. Third one's an empty net. So, I mean, in reality, you're looking at Skinner just let in probably 1 goal that maybe he could have had, which, I think Edmonton fans would take that any day of the week. But another storyline that I just saw on ESPN as you guys were talking, Oilers, I think they just wrote 4 power plays, 0 for 4 in the power play. McDavid 6 shots on net, the most in his career without scoring a goal in the playoffs.
Really?
Mhm.
That's a good stat.
Yeah, I don't think it's, and of course that nonsense started like 2 seconds into the broadcast where like every time he has a chance and it doesn't go in, they're like zooming in directly on his face. And I fully
Yeah.
expect like the speculation conundrum to
man.
start now. But you know what? He's under a microscope, and
Yeah.
no matter what he does, it like if he scores twice, they're going to be like, "Why didn't he have a hat trick?"
Yeah, it won't be
You know,
good enough.
it's
No,
like
I
it's
get
just
it.
one of these things that we're going to have to deal with over the course of this final. But I mean, he looked good tonight. He had jump. Bob was just on a different planet.
Let's talk about the broadcast that you just mentioned, because I feel like our broadcast recaps always end up having the most reactions from listeners. So Sean McDonough, Ray Ferraro on the mics tonight. The two fellows over here are cracking up as I'm saying this.
Listen, I love Ray Ferraro, but I want what he was smoking tonight because he was just on another level.
Quote of the year.
Yeah.
Quote of the year.
Do any of you remember what the quote of the year was? I'm drawing a blank. I can look it up on our Twitter if not.
It was
Scoreboard.
yeah, he
Yeah, it
said
was like direct quote. It was like, if there was a scoreboard here, which of course there is,
Or-
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Or if the scoreboard wasn't
If
here.
there wasn't a scoreboard, which of course there
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and then he proceeded to talk about it, and then I think Mess and Subban said in the
Brought it up later and quoted him
Yeah.
and we're saying like this was a really insightful thing.
I didn't hear
That-
anything after he said of substance. I just lost my mind as soon as I heard that on
It doesn't even
national
matter what he said
television.
next. That's just too good.
when it comes to Sean McDonough, and I said this to you guys, I don't think he's necessarily a bad announcer, but it really, really does lack the enthusiasm. And I saw a Puck Empire post when they posted the 3-0 final score. There was a Canadian follower of theirs who commented and said, I feel so bad for the Americans that have to listen to Sean McDonough.
Wow.
And it's just
I
just
don't think he's that bad.
it's just really mid.
It is mid. It is
Yeah.
mid.
It really is.
Especially when you think of what we were graced with for so many years.
Yes.
That's really the part that hurts.
And we
is,
were
like,
spoiled because
we
we
know
went
how
from-
good it could be.
We
Yeah.
went from literally like the 1A goat of all time in Gary
Oh.
Thorne to the 1B goat of all time in
In
Doc.
Doc.
Emmerich.
I
And you
would
can
agree with
flip
that.
flop those
Yeah.
do as much as you
Sure.
want. But
Sure.
let me ask you guys this. How much money would you pay per month to have the TSN feed?
For every game.
Sure. Every
Like-
nationally broadcasted
Oh.
game. So you didn't have to deal
I'd
with
go-
ESPN or TNT.
I would probably go like between 10 or $20. I'm not even
Okay.
joking. I would.
Yeah, I would pay like $20 for it probably.
Gotcha.
I think that's a
That's
fair
fair.
assessment.
So roughly
wouldn't-
like,
I don't want
roughly
to,
like 240, 250 a year or something.
I
like
don't
that.
want to, but yeah,
But if
they,
that was a
it-
thing, like sure.
if they put Leah Hextall back in the booth, then yeah, I'd do it. But so all right, let's move on to game 2. Let's get a little prediction because I know we're probably not going to see each other again before game 2.
Before we really get into the
Oh.
meat and potatoes of game 2, I have a game 2 related question.
Oh,
McDavid has now worn the same suit to 4 games in a row. Is he
Mhm.
gonna stop doing that now? Because they lost.
I think he's good stuff doing.
I think you probably have to, right? Because it's going to start to smell at some point, man.
Well, I'm curious. Like, did he wash it, or is it like like where does the superstition end? Is it like I'm wearing the same suit and it's got the same stink in it, or like
Pretty sure Sid wore the same suit the entire 17 run.
yeah,
I feel like what it is, it has to be he's got like a stash of like pretzels or like maybe like a trail mix in the pocket.
And he's not done
like
yet?
refilling it before each
Oh.
game. That
Body
way when he's
armor.
like walking in, he's just like, you know, like
Yeah, little body armor action.
exactly.
Mm.
Little 5-hour energy, but like body armor edition in the pockets. Got to keep the sponsors happy.
Battery snuck a bunch of chili into the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the double pipe action, one for chili and one for not chili.
Yeah.
You can tell it's a after midnight recording now. Going into game 2, I think it's interesting that before the series started, Matthias Ekholm did his media day coverage, and they were asking him about, you're one of the few guys on the Oilers
Who
who
looks
has,
like a lumber.
yeah, well, who looks like a lumberjack, but also like you're one of the few guys who has cup experience. What's your tip? And he said when he played for Nashville, they went down 0-2 to Pitt, and he said we kind of knew after that it was over.
Yeah,
And he was honest about it. He goes, we have to win one of these first 2 in Florida.
yeah.
Game 2, Monday night, 8 p.m. allegedly. What are your guys' thoughts going into that one? Like, what would you, where are you putting your money on if I made you bet?
I'm actually going to lean Oil here. I know that the Panthers came out great, and I was saying as soon as the game ended, like, oh my God, my pick was such a moronic take, which, talk to me in a week, it probably will be, but I don't know. I just have a feeling with the way that this Edmonton team has been able to bounce back from losses this postseason. We saw it against Dallas. We saw it against everyone else they had to play. I have a feeling they're going to come back firing. I think, we've talked about that sports psychologist they hired.
Yeah.
that worked with all those incredible teams. I think that's clearly paying some dividends. I mean, the fact that Chris Knobloch got this team to the Stanley Cup final after Jay Woodcroft lost to the Sharks in October. I mean, this is just incredible. So I think the resiliency of the Oil comes back. I would probably put my house and my car on the fact that McDavid scores in that game.
Ooh,
Wow.
Mac.
The Cats will win.
Oh,
I really think they will. I lean much closer to what you were saying before about how the fact that they got outplayed and won today is really bad news for the Oilers because they're not going to get outplayed in game 2 and then they're still going to win.
That's a great
That's
point.
kind of what I'm feeling right now, which, that's just a vibe, but that's the vibe I'm feeling.
yeah. I feel like in normal circumstances I would do that, but I did pick the Oilers to win the cup, and I didn't just do that to be like funny or controversial. Like I actually thought they'd
Yeah.
have a chance. So I don't know. I might side with you, Nick, which might be scary, but game 2, maybe we get a little Oil action.
We did both take the Oilers in 6, so
We did. So
Sugar,
I'll
we're
ride.
going down swinging.
I'll ride and die with you on this. Let's get a
Gotta
score
double
prediction.
down.
I want a score prediction.
4-2. It's like a super close game. Someone gets a go ahead with 5 minutes to go, and then an empty netter to make it 4-2. And I think the Oil win.
Mac.
5-3 Panthers.
Oh, high scoring.
Yep, I think they get through a little bit more to Bob, but the scoring for the Panthers outweighs it.
Edmonton wins. Damn, Nick. I'm gonna tell that too. Edmonton wins 4-2. You're speaking my language.
I could see if to me, if the Oilers are going to win that game, they want it to like go to OT or something like that. Like they
Yeah.
want that the same game they stole from Dallas in OT early in the
Yes.
series. That was game 1, wasn't it? Or
Correct.
Yeah.
they need something like that where they're just clearly like hanging on and battling, and then just they get the fucking goal. Like,
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to 2 guys that you all should be following, friends of the program, and they both killed it tonight. Cody Pucks. Go
Get
follow
back.
him on Twitter.
Bouchard.
He looked great. He had some great picks tonight. And then our most recent interview guest, Puck's Prize. I think that's what it is. Puck Picks. I apologize.
Yes.
He did a great job on Twitter today as well. So go follow those 2 guys, friends of the program. They're always giving out good stuff. What else should we discuss before we wrap up?
I got a big one for you guys. So let's be real. It took like 2 business years to drop the puck for this fucking.
Oh
hockey
my
game.
god.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but like if you're gonna like slate the coverage starting at 8, and you've got an hour pregame show before that, and you still can't drop the puck by 8:20, which
Yeah.
is still ridiculous.
It's
For
so
2
annoying.
anthems, reading lineups, introducing
Yeah.
the officials, and then they bring the freaking cup onto the ice.
That was
Yeah, that was
so
weird.
Before game 1, and the players have been standing on the blue line for like 2 minutes
Yeah.
already.
I
I've
can.
never seen that before.
So yeah, I don't think we're done with this. I was questioning if we like were missing something from years past, and then I remembered like I've been to the Stanley Cup Finals. I've been to 2 game ones. There's never been a time where they brought the Stanley Cup out
No.
before the
It
game.
was like that State Farm commercial where it's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to be quicker than that."
No, literally, they're like, look what we got.
It's
Oh, but
like,
you
"Oh,
can't
you
have-"
want this?
It
You don't
was
want to
on-
know about it now."
Exactly. It was on the ice for all of like 2 minutes. Like
Right.
they had it there real quick, and they were like, "Whoa!" And then they were like, "Okay, get it out of here, get it out of here."
Who did they show on TV when it was out? I think it was Bennett on the bench,
I thought it was Ekholm, maybe,
or maybe it was Echo, and like
Someone with a beard.
they showed
Yeah.
him, and they were like, "Okay,
Yeah,
his Stanley Cup."
his
what?"
eyes got so big, and I was just like, I kind of
Like
feel bad.
frothing at the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like having like your dinner in front of your dog. while
Yeah.
they're
Right,
sleeping.
right. He's like, "I know, I'm playing for that right now."
Like I've never
Don't
I don't
show
think
it to
I've
me.
ever seen that in like a North American sport where you like dangle the trophy and
Can you imagine? Imagine like the World Series or something. It's game
Yeah.
1, and some guy comes out with the trophy,
like the
and
guy
they're like,
doing the opening pitch is standing
Yeah.
next to the trophy on like a little
what in
table
the
or
fu-
some shit.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, the dumber it sounds. That was so silly.
Yeah, I think the final puck drop was at 8:25,
Yeah.
and they said
Which-
it started at 8.
Shall we clue everybody in on our pregame activities? Because this was,
Yeah, that was pretty
I
good.
mean, we were as many of you were, we were restless and just like, okay, let's see. Still 45 minutes, huh? Well,
To clear this up, all three of us were standing 4 inches from the TV with like 45 minutes till
Yeah.
puck drop. So
and then what? After that, you had your epiphany that we were out of beer, and
close to at least.
yeah, we had like 2 beers left, and there's 3 of us.
And
so,
those
I mean,
numbers did not add up for
Yeah.
3 periods.
the
of hockey,
math ain't
just saying.
mathing.
So we made a little emergency run to the liquor store, and Mac's outfit, I think, caught the attention of 2 people who've caught the vibe that we were going for.
I think it was more
Thing.
the
jersey,
the cases of
glasses.
beer we're holding.
I think it was the jersey. I don't know. I love the fit.
But like we walked
you.
over to like this little marina live bait and snack store that happens to sell beer. Is
Right.
how I would put it.
It smelled like
Yes.
shit. You can
It
say it.
absolutely did.
Smelled like catnip.
Yeah. And, I mean, there was also an amazing
There was a
dog in there.
Big ass dog in
Yeah.
there. Like I'm talking Sandlot the Beast dog. Really cute though.
We had like an 8-minute walk.
name
to
was
get
Moby.
there, and we left at like 7:48. Place closed at 8 p.m. We were like, oh shit,
We made it though.
gotta go.
It's a successful evening.
Gotta
I
go.
got a big ass pickle.
Yeah, you did. That was a huge pickle, man.
It was the last one in the jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now we know why.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to recap before we wrap up? This is weird. We only have one game to talk about. We're
Oh, I got
live. I'm a
another
little
one.
out of my element here.
I got another one.
Oh.
It's another grind my gears, another complaint about this game.
Okay.
The Stanley Cup logo.
Oh man.
Oh, great point.
So, two-pronged rant here. First of all, it looks like shit, and I could have designed a better one in Microsoft Word and or Paint.
Yep.
That being said, like, go away from the minimalist shit. Just give us the 90s back. That's what the three of us want. It's that simple.
Right.
The placement on the sweater. You cannot have the patch directly next to and or on top of
Yeah.
the C
Yeah.
or the A.
Well, and Harry made a good point. It's on the other side for the Oilers.
Right.
It's on the jerseys are not the same.
They're not the
It's
same.
so bizarre. I don't understand it. It looks horrible. It just looks overcrowded, clumsy, and weird.
Yeah. It looks like what it looks like is they gave everyone a patch and then like sent them home and they were like, have your mom sew this on. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And everyone did something different
It looks
and was
stupid.
like, okay, they're on there.
It looks
came back.
ridiculous because like they showed McDavid, and like Nick just said, he's got the C on the left side, and then on the opposite side he's got the cup patch. Then they showed Barkov immediately after, and because the Panthers have a sponsor on the left
on
side
the right side. Or
whatever,
yeah.
on the opposite side they'd put the C for the captaincy, and then the patch, the cup logo patch right next to it. It looked horrible, and I'm
Yeah.
like, if you can't drop the sponsor for 2 weeks just
Also,
to make it
like
look
the
clean?
sponsor's LaCroix. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. That's like the seltzer water shit, right?
Yeah, it's like it's not something cool. It's that.
It's also like,
Like-
listen, LaCroix, I know. I already know.
Yeah.
LaCroix.
I'm aware.
I know. Like,
Do
you're not telling anyone anything we don't already know. It's like, yeah, the fucking bubbly water. We got it. Thank you.
Ugh.
It's kind of like the Leafs when it just says milk.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, I know what
It's
that
like,
is.
dude, I grew up with parents who grew up in the 60s. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
force-fed milk every day as a child.
No,
Like,
same.
It's good for your bones.
But seriously, like, no one's seeing LaCroix on the Panthers jersey and going, right, LaCroix exists.
God damn it, I forgot
Yes,
to order
I'm gonna
3
go get
cases
some.
of that
Yeah.
now.
it was also in like just a white cursive font, no background color, no pop to it. Like
You can barely even like tell that it's their brand. You're like,
Yes.
oh yeah, that says LaCroix. I guess that's the soda that I already know about.
going back to the logo, Nick. Yeah, it's atrocious. It's horrible.
There's a hierarchy of like important things that are on the front of a sweater. It's like obviously the crest on the front most important.
Yep.
It's like the C and like whatever cup final
Yeah.
or like NCAA or Memorial Cup patch. Then that. The ad should basically just be like written off at that point.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there should be something in the contract that says like if and when you make the Stanley Cup
Yeah.
final,
It's just gone.
like
Like, sorry.
do 2 commercials for us instead.
Yes,
Other
yeah.
than that, like just fucking forget it.
Fuck,
I'm on the same page.
it's
I
so
agree.
bad.
I agree. But yeah, it was a good game 1. Excited for game 2. A good weekend with the boys. Excited to be recording live. It's always a a fun time. And Nick, thanks once again for having us here
Of
and
course, glad you guys could make it.
for grilling out. You did a great job this
Yeah,
evening. You
grill
get my
master
stamp of
vanilla.
approval.
Oh, that's huge.
Hope everybody enjoyed that little fun shenanigans Saturday night recording. I know we did. That was at about midnight. Things were getting a little weird, but I think all in all, it was a kosher recording, if you will,
You know it's going to be a good one when the sunglasses go on.
which all three of us did, inspired by, I think you inspired that.
Yeah,
Shades on.
yeah,
Yeah,
had to.
good stuff. All right. Well, we're going to go into the game 2 recap. We're going to dive into that a little bit here, and then we're going to go into the game 3 previews. Now, before we go into the game 2 recap, Nick, ding, 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 you're the winner for yet again another ad read from our sponsor, Kane Footwear.
Dude, it is my lucky day, and it could be your lucky day too, because this episode is brought to you by Kane Footwear, the ultimate choice for hockey players both on and off the ice. After a tough game, your feet deserve some TLC. That's where Kane Footwear comes in. Their shoes are designed to provide the perfect balance of comfort and support, helping you recover faster and get back to the game you love. So whether you're hitting the rink or hitting the outdoors, make sure you're wearing Kane Footwear. Visit the Kane Footwear link in our bio today to find your perfect pair. Kane Footwear, the official recovery shoe of empty betters.
Alrighty, so kind of fun to listen to the game 1 recaps live, and then I know we each gave our game 2 predictions, so it's kind of funny to hear how that ages, obviously. So game 2, let's chat here, Nicholas. Florida wins 4-1, and what I was scared of on the casting couch indeed happened in game 2. Get your mind out of the gutter there, if you're listening. Florida had a bad game 1. They come out gunning in game 2. They basically shut down the entire Oilers offense. And that's kind of been the story of the first 2 games. The Oilers only have 1 goal through their first 2 games. That is not going to cut it. So, we can talk about the Stuart Skinner stuff all you want, but if this team's not going to put the puck in the back of the net and they're not going to score on the power play, this is going to be a really quick series.
That's a great way to put it. It's such a unique turnaround looking at game 2 versus game 1. Game 1, they got bobbed. They were the better team, I would say, for 65% of that hockey game, though, maybe 75, 80 of it. And then in game 2, through 40 minutes, they've got 7 shots on net. They don't generate one single quality 5-on-5 opportunity throughout the game. And they just got ragdolled. I think that could have been a lot worse than 4-1.
I agree. And as everyone predicted on their bingo card for game 2, the opening score is Matthias Ekholm, followed by Florida's opening score, Nico Mikkola. Everyone had that predicted, which I saw something funny on Twitter. I think might have been Puck Picks, our buddy. I can't remember who it was, but someone tried the parlay for game 3. Matthias Ekholm first goal scored, Nico Mikkola second goal scorer, and I think it was DraftKings or FanDuel. I can't remember what screenshot it was. They just didn't allow it. There was no option.
This is physically impossible.
Yeah, I was like, you're not allowed to do this because it just happens. So pretty funny, but yeah, that the first 2 periods for Edmonton, I think they got 7 shots to Florida's 22 through the first 40 minutes. So a pretty big ass whooping in that department by Florida. And then one of my all-time, I won't say all-time actually, but one of my guys who played in Pittsburgh that I wish they didn't get rid of so quick, Evan Rodriguez. What a third period from this guy to help the Cats take the lead. He gets 2 goals in the third period, one of them on the power play, the other one the go-ahead goal. What'd you think of that third period from him, Nick?
So in a weird way, Erod is starting to make me go, okay, like this Panthers team is going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm fully convinced at this point. And it's partially because of the performance of a guy like this. And this, if I say who was your standout guy that came out of nowhere in the Stanley Cup for the Penguins, you would probably say Max Talbot, right? Or Matt Murray or something like that. I would probably say DSP. Right. You need a guy like that on your team to win the Stanley Cup every year. Just that guy that you don't really expect to, but he's got goals in back-to-back games and he looks great. So happy for him. I mean, he's played on a bunch of different teams with a bunch of fantastic players, but he's firing on all cylinders right now. And honestly, I don't think the Oilers' depth has an answer for him at this point.
It sure doesn't look like it. I know he's going to be getting that first line time, I believe, in game 3. All the sports books are already adjusting their prices for that, so keep an eye out for that. We talked about, or Nick talked about the Oilers getting bobbed in game 1. He only had to stop 18 shots in game 2, so light work for Bobrovsky. We're going to touch on the Draisaitl elbow here in a little bit, not quite yet. Um, this is kind of going into game 3 preview, so apologies, but it's really easy to become prisoner of the moment when the Panthers are up 2-0. I understand they're the better team. They were the favored team. They've played better. I mean, whether it's their goalie or their team so far this series. However, Pittsburgh and Boston, 09, 2011, both those teams were down 2-0 and ended up coming back. You look at like Crosby in 09. I don't know. I kind of have a similar feel with the Oilers in this case. Like it's McDavid trying to get his first cup. That was Crosby trying to get his first cup. I'm not quite ready to write the Oilers off. And I think that environment in Edmonton on Thursday night is going to be probably, like no exaggeration, the craziest atmosphere we've seen maybe in the 21st century for a playoff game.
I would agree. And I mean, to state the insanely obvious fact here, game 3 is a must win.
Yes.
I would say the first period of game 3 is must win.
I agree. I agree. Well, then let's talk about the Leon thing and then we'll hop into the previews. What were your thoughts on the elbow? I know Maurice had some funny, well, I shouldn't say funny, but some interesting comments after the game. We know Barkov is practicing again, but what were your thoughts on it?
It's an elbow, but like I felt like everyone else when I saw it happen. I was like, it's Leon Draisaitl. He's not getting suspended.
Exactly. You think the Oilers down 2-0, the league's going to suspend him? Absolutely not.
Wilson does that. He gets 5 games.
Well, that's fair. But like, people are going to bitch saying the game or shouldn't be called differently just because it's the playoffs or based on the player or the series. You know what? You're entitled to that opinion. I don't necessarily disagree with that opinion. But at the end of the day, if we had game 3 without the second best player on the Oilers, no one's going to watch.
It would be a disservice to us, but I also
Yeah.
don't necessarily. I'm also fine with no suspension here.
Yeah, I didn't think it warranted that. Was it kind of maybe a little bit of dirty play? Sure, whatever. But we know Barkov is most likely going to be in the lineup for game 3. We're recording this on Wednesday, June 12th, and it was told that he did practice today. So that's a very good sign for the Cats. So just be on the lookout for that. Let's move into the previews for game 3. Nick, what are you thinking? Let's hear it.
I mean, the Oilers have to, if they're going to do anything. It's so hard for me to think that they can pull this off after looking at these 2 games, the first 2. But then again, they've had 2 days off. That's a better reset than a lot of other teams have had in the Stanley Cup final. So 2 days to reset, refocus, go back to the drawing board, get back to their game. If they can get back to how they were playing at the end of that Dallas series, then I think they can win game 3, 3-2.
I like that. Yeah, 2 under games so far. Man, one of these games has to go over. You would imagine it's 5.5 every game right now.
And I don't think the Oilers are going to win. They're probably not going to win games unless they score 3 or 4.
I agree with that. Well, I will say this for anyone listening. If you're listening on Thursday, hopefully you're listening in the morning and before puck drop. I have placed a wager on the Edmonton Oilers
Here we go.
To win game 3 at -135 on our DraftKings sponsor. So yeah, I'm invested. I think they win. I don't see them going down quite this easy. I know it's looked bleak so far, but I just have to imagine that place is going to explode. I think the fans realize that the team needs them. This isn't just like, hey, we're in the Stanley Cup Finals. This is like, oh shit, Connor legacy game. We need to help him out. So I do think the Oilers will win. So I have placed a wager with that. Proceed with caution. I have known to jinx the Oilers in my time on this podcast. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me. But I think it's a 4-2 game. I think it's 3-2 going down the stretch. And then that fourth goal is either an empty netter or it's like a insurance marker with like 3 minutes left. But one guy who we've just talked about, and I really need to see him get going, Leon Draisaitl. He's looked
Yeah.
kind of slow. He's looked slow to me. Maybe he's dinged up, but he has not looked himself.
I think you can almost say the same. It's hard for me to fault 97, but I think you can say the same thing about, him and Hyman. It's like you guys have been producing out your ass the entire Stanley Cup playoffs, and now it's really quiet. And yes, I think that's credit to the Florida Panthers and that suffocating pressure they have with both their forwards and their D. But, you know, the Oilers' whole thing is like these three guys have just been scoring, and that's why they're so good in the playoffs. So it's got to come through at some point, you would think.
You would think, yeah, 97, right? He's got 1 point. Yes, they've scored 1 goal. So it's hard for me to like point too many fingers at him, but I'm looking at like the secondary guys. I wouldn't even necessarily say depth guys, but like, if you need a goal, you're looking at Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl. So you need Leon to step up. Nuge, he's
Yeah.
been really quiet. The longest tenured Oiler, they did a whole story on him. ESPN did before the series. I want to see a little more out of him. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's been tough for Edmonton, and I understand. I think I saw on NHL Network the 2008 Penguins when they lost to the Red Wings. They went their first 2 games scoring only 1 goal, and obviously we know the story. They forced it to 6, but it wasn't going to last much longer than that. I kind of feel like it's the same vibe here. I don't want to give up on the Oil just yet. I don't think they get swept. I think this can go 6, but it's certainly kind of shaping up to be a similar story here, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this. So we talked about, them getting bobbed in game 1. Do you think this is a situation where Skinner can steal one for the Oil in this series, or is that asking for too much considering what Florida's thrown at him?
Yeah, I don't know about listen, I like Stuart Skinner. I know the missing piece of the puzzle on this segment right now, Mr. McCain Vogel, has been very critical of him. I don't think he's gonna steal one. When you say steal, you're saying shutout?
I'm talking like the guy is going to stand on his head, Patrick Waugh, Carey Price, Dominic Hasek, and get you a win.
So I classify that as a shutout or a 1. He allows 1 goal. I just don't see that happening. I think Edmonton's star power is what's going to get them back. If he does, good for them. And we're the 2 idiots who took Edmonton, so like we kind of need that. And I took them at 6. So unless they rattle off 4 in a row, that we're in a world of hurt here. But
Same.
I don't know. What do you think? You think he steals one?
I'm leaning towards the same direction you're going. I have a really hard time seeing something where he goes, full Cam Ward mode and just starts pitching, 0s and 1s. It's total binary across the board, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We'll see. So you got 3-2 Edmonton. I've got 4-2 Edmonton. I know I texted Mac if he had any predictions he wanted us to read, but I don't think he does. We'll put out some Twitter video tomorrow to broadcast the picks. I will say this from a gambling perspective. One guy who Puck Picks has been big on, 2 guys that Puck Picks has been big on, and they've both cashed for me so far. Evan Bouchard. Look at the assists specifically. He's got that bomb from the point, but on the power play, he's usually 9 out of 10 times getting an apple. Maybe that shot gets deflected, usually around even money. And Sam Bennett is a cash cow at the moment in this playoffs. Yeah. Him to get a point at plus 120 on like a nightly basis, second line center for the Cats. Both those props are excellent to be eyeballing. I took both of them in game 2. They both cashed. So I'm going to be looking at the same thing for game 3. And I hope the Oilers can make a series out of this. I definitely do. None of us want a 3-0 series. That's no fun to watch.
No, not at all.
You're bringing some good vibes with the McDavid Otters uni over there.
I had to. I don't have an Oil one in my collection yet. That's probably going to need to happen before he hangs them up. And I don't have a Cats one either, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah. Just a reminder, those game 3 predictions were brought to you by Elwoods. I don't have the ad read in front of me, but similar to McCain Vogel, I will kind of go from the hip. Located on Water Street in downtown Milwaukee, you can go check out Elwood's. It's a hockey enthusiast bar, I would say. They have Stanley Cup final deals. They've been posting that on their Instagram story. Go check them out to see what their drink deals are on their IG. Pop by. It's dog friendly, home of the Pizza Luge. And you can get a lot of different beers over there as well. My understanding is if you're a woman, you might see us in the women's bathroom on a poster. So that's
On a
kind of cool.
poster, on a poster.
On a poster. Another incentive to go check out Elwood's, right? To go see our beautiful faces. But yeah, we appreciate Elwood's for partnering with us and sponsoring the predictions segment. Anything else you want to touch on?
I don't think so. I think that's it. Oh, Hershey Bears game 7 tonight. I don't know how it got to this point. They went up 3-0. We go to the beach for 4 days and then they blow 3 games. So go
Yeah.
Bears.
I was gonna say, I keep seeing the Bears are playing. I'm like, wasn't it 3-0?
Right.
Interesting. And for the other side, is that series over? Coachella? Are they?
I feel like it might be. I haven't heard Max say anything about the Admirals, so I think they might have been toast.
Okay, so Coachella's playing Milwaukee.
I think so, yeah.
Coachella what is it? The Firebirds. What a cool name. Yeah, they win game 5 to advance to the Calder Cup.
Nice.
So, there you go. Also, not gonna dive into this. Shout out Penguins for hiring Mike Sullivan's evil twin, David Quinn, as the assistant coach. Can't wait for him to be head coach next year after they fire Sullivan when they missed the playoffs this year. And then we have his duplicate literally behind the bench. So
Do you
I
think
don't
they're
know.
going to miss again?
They have not given me a reason to think they won't. I mean, we'll see what free agency holds, but
True.
I don't know. I have a hard time thinking Jersey's going to be bad again next year. Like that.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a weird one, but all right. If that's all we got, I think we're gonna wrap up. You good?
Yep.
All right, everybody. We appreciate the love and support as always. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed that little live pod for the game 1 recap. Appreciate the love and support as always. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.